So NIO, you have returned for an update and some new breaking news. Well good, you've come to the right place. Let's do it. Hey guys, this is my dog who you just saw in the intro. Her name is Murph, which is actually very close to Morpheus, and she's beautiful. And I know you guys loved seeing her in the original video that I did on the NIO analysis only a couple weeks ago, and it only made sense to bring her back as a celebrity guest. And by the way, if you want to see her a little bit more on the channel, just let me know and I'll figure out a way to incorporate her a little bit more. Say bye, Murph. Alright, today we have a great NIO update and a huge development in NIO that could be a game changer for them going forward. And I want to cover all of that for you today. And by the way, I haven't really heard anybody talking about this yet, so I'm going to give you the scoop today because that's what I do and it's what you guys deserve. And as always, I've done a ton of research for you guys so that you don't have to, because it's my job to show you what stocks are coming up, which ones to look out for so you can make the best investment decisions for yourselves. And we all have one thing in common. We want to pick some winners, we want to retire early, go and live in the Maldives, sipping on cocktails and splashing the cash. So if that appeals to you, subscribe to this channel and give me an early thumbs up on this video if you've liked what you've seen so far, because it helps so much with the YouTube algorithm. But full disclosure, I am not a financial advisor, and early retirement, cocktails and cash splashing, they are not guaranteed. All right, so here's what I want to touch on today about NIO. First, I want to look at the diverse range of products and services that NIO offer. Second, I want to look at where does NIO fit within the EV market. Third, we're going to go over the recently released July delivery figures. Then we're going to look at some big promises that the NIO chairman has made, William Li, which could have a huge impact on their stock price variations in the short term, especially considering their Q2 reports come out on August 11th. But don't worry if you're watching this video before or after August 11th, because the only difference is you'll have the results in front of you and you'll be able to see what the impact was in the short term. And lastly, before I talk about whether I think they're a buy, hold, or sell, we're going to have a look at some game-changing breaking news that just came out in the last few days for NIO. But before we hit on all those key points, I just want you to understand that NIO stock is about as volatile as any stock on the market at the moment. The fluctuations day to day are unbelievable, so please don't get bogged down in what's going on right now. And really, in this video and always, we should be looking at the future, their long-term prospects, and that's what we're going to focus on today. All right, first up, what products and services do NIO offer? First and foremost, NIO is a Chinese company, and many people may not realize that they focus mostly on a premium electric vehicle to fit within the luxury vehicle market, not a budget vehicle to fit within the budget vehicle market as many people would expect, which is not the typical approach that you see from a new Chinese startup in the automotive industry. So what NIO have done is they've taken a formula that's been proven to be successful and a winning strategy through Tesla, and they've put their own little flavor on it. And they've done this by selling not only high-end autonomous electric vehicles, but also a broader lifestyle brand. They want to change the way we feel about vehicles, and that's why they offer 3 main vehicles, 3 services, and also a lifestyle brand called NIO Life, as well as NIO House. So clearly they are very diverse and have big visions, and they don't want to limit themselves by putting themselves in a box. And as I mentioned in my first NIO video a couple of weeks ago, they also got a $1.5 billion line of credit from Chinese banks, as well as a $1 billion bailout from the government, which removes a lot of their bankruptcy risk and their liquidity issues. And while it did force NIO to give up more control than they probably would have liked, it also gave them a lot of security because they now have governing bodies that don't want them to fail. And by the way, if you want my full, really in-depth analysis of NIO, I'll leave a link up here, and I'll also leave a link in the description, so check that one out. All right, on to the second thing I want to touch on in this video, and that is where does NIO fit within the EV market? So we all know that Tesla is the kingpin, they're the big dog, the Lord Commander, the ultimate leader in the industry. So how can NIO compete with that? It's going to be the ultimate showdown in the EV market, especially in China. Well, NIO do have a few things up their sleeve, and some of them are very significant. The first is that their main focus is on the SUV market, which is actually quite unique. They know that they're against many companies that predominantly offer small and middle-sized vehicles. So they've decided to go sideways from that and actually offer SUVs, which also happens to be a vehicle that is growing very fast in popularity around the world. In USA alone, SUVs accounted for more than 50% of vehicle sales, and that caused carbon emissions to grow by more more than 0.5 gigatons between 2010 and 2018. And that's obviously the opposite of what these EV companies are trying to achieve. They want very low and even zero emissions if possible. And yet SUV sales are still growing worldwide. So what did NIO do? They identified this pretty early and used it as a way to squeeze themselves into the market where other people aren't quite fitting in yet. And that's why they created a variety of SUVs to solve both problems at once. They can sell more vehicles because it's a growing vehicle type, and they can also make them green. They can make them electric, which is what people want. So they're solving both problems at the same time. Very clever. And strategically, for me, I think that's one of the best decisions they've made. It might seem small, but I think that it has a massive impact. If we take a look at this image here, which only goes up to 2017, it clearly shows the rise of SUVs and the drop of passenger vehicles. So that's why I think that catching this trend early is a brilliant decision on NIO's behalf. All right, the next card that they have up their sleeve is that they are based in China, and that is a bigger deal than many people might realize, and it might even be their greatest advantage. Because one thing is always consistent. We love to buy things that are made and designed in our country. It's just a part of who we are. And China is no different. And who knows, maybe they're going to end up like Apple and Huawei did. Now Huawei have taken over that mantle and have 40% market share of smartphones in China. And Apple now only has around 10%. And I'd be willing to bet that at the time, almost nobody would have expected Huawei to come in and dominate Apple the way they did in the years to follow. And yet, here we are. So for me, what this does is I believe it gives NIO an opportunity to create a brand that is so solidified within the Chinese people that people will have no choice but to start paying attention in China and also around the world. Because that's the biggest thing. If you can create a product that is like Apple, it's a part of who we are. It's either Apple or it's not Apple. It's either NIO, it's not NIO. If they can achieve that, then they can achieve absolutely anything. And it gets even better for NIO because once they pull it off, if they pull it off, then they'll be ready to pounce on the European and US market, which is something they've already got plans for. And as you can see by this sales chart, they're already moving up the ranks for vehicles sold in China and even make an appearance in the world's EV sales. And while it's only a very low appearance, considering they've only been around for about 10 minutes, that is no small feat. All right, next up, let's have a look at their July delivery figures. And they look pretty damn good. They're not incredible, not quite as high as I was expecting, but they're still pretty damn good. So in July, they delivered 3,533 vehicles, which was a 322% year-over-year increase. And with new companies, that is exactly what you expect to see. Strong growth month on month, and July was no different because they recorded their second highest delivery month so far. But the problem with that is that they fell short of their previous month. But NIO have justified that to us. They've explained that during July, they had what they've called a flood-related supply chain challenges, which created some big issues. And they also had a 5-day suspension of manufacturing to prepare for the EC6 productions. So plenty going on for them in July that really did hold them back, but they still did get great figures regardless of this. Now their 3,500 July deliveries brought their total deliveries in 2020 to 17,702, a 111% increase year over year, which brings their total overall deliveries of the ES8 and the ES6 to 49,615. Frustratingly close to 50,000 vehicles, just by the way. And I don't need to mention this, but I'm going to anyway. We're still in the midst of Uncle Roni. So all companies are struggling so much at the moment, and yet they're still posting really good growth figures. All right, before we move on to the big news, let's take a look at the big promises made by William Li, the chairman and founder of NIO. And these promises could have a big impact, particularly on their short-term fluctuations in their stock price, because he's either going to be right or he's going to be wrong. And they were some big promises. And generally in business, the best principle is to under-promise and over-deliver. And that's going to be really hard to do with these claims. So at the moment for quarter one, NIO's margins are at negative 12.21%, which is an ugly number to look at. However, William Li has promised that the gross margin will turn positive in the second quarter, which is due to drop in just a couple of days. Or if you've watched this before, has already dropped, in which case you'll know exactly what's happened as the fallout from this. But wait, there's more. Because he also said that it will reach the 2-digit level by the end of the year. And he justifies that to us by stating that NIO has been optimizing the supply chain, winning a better deal with better producer CATL, and reducing manufacturing costs as it ramps up production. The company has also become stricter about expense control and further improved its efficiency with its headcount cut to around 7,000 from 100,000 in early 2019. And he also expects a 35% expense reduction compared to last quarter, even under the pressure of the outbreak. Now, as I said, these are some big claims and some big predictions because they're going from -12 to potentially positive and double digits by the end of the year. Big promises. But if he's right, those are some super duper improvements. And if he's wrong, I'm betting a lot of investors are going to be hella pissed and hella unimpressed. All right, now, the moment we've been waiting for, the big news that could be a game changer for NIO, and it's something that I haven't seen being talked about very much at all. They have reached a strategic cooperation with a Chinese retail giant called Suning. Now, that's not quite the same as a legal partnership, but it's effectively two companies working together on agreed upon objectives and goals while remaining separate entities. And Suning is actually one of the largest non-government commercial retailer in China, and their goal is creating a higher quality of life for all. And they also have a partnership with Alibaba, who have a 20% stake in Suning, and Suning have a 0.5% stake in Alibaba. And this is so exciting for NIO because Suning do almost everything. If you can buy something, you can buy it through them. If you can experience it, you can experience it through them, both online and offline. And what they're trying to achieve is mind-blowing stuff. So Suning's main focus is on retail and building a cross-platform ecosystem that connects their online and offline worlds with things like retail, real estate, finance, technology, and even sports and media. And seriously, guys, the list goes on. They are building an entire futuristic ecosystem that is on a scale almost unimaginable. They have more than 1,600 stores across more than 700 cities in China, and they have online stores, physical stores, and even a distribution center that is automated completely, picking and packing orders on their own, and they have a distribution facility designated to cooperative partners, which is huge for NIO. Because as you can tell, Suning are a massive company on a huge scale with an enormous reach. And because NIO are fairly new in the industry, they don't have that reach. So utilizing their relationship or their cooperation with Suning is a massive game changer and opens huge doors for NIO. And what I believe is going to happen is that they're going to implement something really similar that they've got going on with Alibaba, which is that people can go into one of Suning's 1,600 outlets all across China, 700 different cities, try the NIO product, have a look, see for themselves before going back and buying directly from NIO. It's really just providing them a platform to be seen by the masses. Under the agreement, NIO have said that the two parties will establish a long-term partnership to strengthen strategic cooperation in various fields, including channel expansion, product sales, consumer service, brand promotion, business-to-business cooperation, technological products and development, and create development opportunities. And on top of that, NIO will open its showroom in Suning's exhibition center and is planning to build an automotive smart retail experience store. And I feel like I keep saying and because the news gets better and better for NIO, NIO's members will be able to enjoy platinum membership benefits at Suning hotels, while conversely, NIO and its partners will become preferred customers of Suning hotels. So it's kind of like a you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours situation, but on a really big scale. And besides the obvious potential that it offers NIO and the enormous reach that they can get out of this, there's something else I really like about this cooperation, and that's that they're really similar companies. They're both trying to change the world and make everyone's life easier. So this is a pretty natural progression and a really easy combination of companies to work together. And that's what I really like about this partnership or cooperation. All in all, acknowledging that NIO stock are very volatile, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. Pretty much any piece of news that come out is massive up and down swings, and I don't think that's going to change. But having said all that, I do like where NIO are headed, and I do think they are a good buy for the long term, and I do think they are a hold. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'd never tell you what to do. Please make your own decisions. This is my research, but I do think that the risk is worth the reward potential of NIO. All right, guys and gals, I really hope you enjoyed this. I try so hard to make videos based on what you guys either want to see or what I think you deserve to see and might not have found by yourself, and then give you a really good analysis and detailed description, and I go over as many of the factors as I possibly can. So if you appreciate that, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see what's coming in the future and what other things I've got in stock for you. Little pun for you. And until next time, I'm Dan, and you've been Dansplained. See ya!